another type of monopoly, that called natural monopoly. They are what we already discussed. The firm is able to supply the entire market at a lower cost. So even the firms earn profit at that level, and new firms come to the industry. If new firms come to, they even can reduce some price and can stop the new firms entering into the industry also. So if you put it into a graph in that way, always the natural monopoly situation, downward slope in average cost area, and that's the and this kind of monopoly situation, the government always try to intervene, and the government intervention can be in the two ways. The one is the government take direct ownership, government create a monopoly, and the other one is regulation. Government set up a regulated body and supervise and control. So my opinion is this: if a government set the monopoly, that is also monopoly though the government. That may be the danger than the private monopoly due to several reasons, like I explained the last time. One is compared to the private sector, the government sector always inefficient anywhere in the world. And also the government, the corruption also there. And the private sector also corruption, but I think not like this. The government sector, the corrupted, and that price also add to the price. And also the inefficiency cost also add to the price. For example, assuming that the prices in the final good, let's say the private sector and the public sector. Now, adding the public sector is inefficiency, corruption, and also third point, also maybe you might have some other point. And those who work in the public sector, those are the siders. Those are we have quoting the Marx also, the public sector. They can stay in the communist and always try to destroy the public properties. So in that way, those who work there, the person, directors, or whatever the workers, they try to maximize their benefit, either their salaries or their facilities, not the industry, because they know if you take, for example, a person maybe maximum 2 years, 3 years there. Or even if you look at the universities also, the vice chancellor maybe 3 years. In that way, they try to more or less they are all benefit. And if you do a study, that's a good area to study also. Definitely, their purpose is maximize their individual benefits and things. Everywhere it's happening, you can see. So all of them cost to the price here. Then definitely you can see the price of the public sector is higher than the private sector. In that way, the monopolies ownership is maybe greater danger. That's why always we say in Sri Lanka, those are white elephants and things, and even those who work and employ, they are also some political link and the thing. They try to support those politicians, not the company, and that's also. And the second part of regulated body, that may be, with my feeling, is better than the ownership, but still you can see those regulated body also, due to corruption and those things also, they indirectly work for the company, not the people, because they get some monies and some monies for the company, and those things also happen. But those are the two model public sector use to supervise or address the natural monopoly. Maybe you might have some other ideas. Usually you don't talk here, but in the exam, maybe you can put them. So the last time, I don't know whether I did not discuss the natural monopoly. Yeah, natural monopoly is usually, if you look at the industries like electricity, railway, those kind of public utility industries mainly. That is the danger also, because those kind of industries, those kind of service and goods, the consumers as well as the producers badly need. Without consumers can't get their welfare satisfaction. Without those facilities, producers can't produce low cost. One of the serious issues, if you look at Sri Lanka, the cost of those items, public utility is very high. Then the cost of productions is other goods also high. So this we have to look at the root causes in that. Why our cost of production high? The one finger point is public utility is expensive. Then if you go deeper, study the why the public utility is very expensive. For those reasons, what I mentioned, the corruption, inefficiency, and the kind of individualistic behavior, those kind of might be the reason. So what we do right now, maybe we try to treat somewhere else, not the root cause. So why these industries become natural monopoly? Because the initial cost to start firms in these industries, initial costs are very high. So if we initial cost, you can, for example, give not maybe 22 million people more than that capacity. They always produce under capacity. So that situation is create a natural monopoly. Why is called natural monopoly? Because the why it's called natural monopoly? Because the reduction, for example, if you look at here, so this is the average cost curve, this is the marginal cost curve, the average cost. And if you fix here the demand, basically, lies somewhere here. So if you demand the marginal revenue, if you fix like this, MR equal MC condition satisfy here. You can see here the price very high. When the new industry enter the market, somewhere here they have to set the higher price than that. So very difficult to be competitive and enter the industry. In this situation, they can drop down the price even without harm to the profit or using accumulated profit. They can drop the price if some competitors try to enter the industry. So in that way, they create this situation that's called natural monopoly. Now, like I explained, the natural monopoly industries, this is the situation. You can see average cost curve and the demand is always lie under capacity or economic scale range. And also its marginal cost is below that. Now, I will draw it and show you. So this is the, I will say, average cost and the marginal cost. Long run average cost and long run marginal cost. Let's say demand curve like this. And you get the halfway, the marginal cost curve, the marginal revenue. Now, problem here in this industry, if you set the profit maximum outcome, that is MR equal MC, marginal revenue equal marginal cost, and the produce this XM amount, let's say 40 unit. If say here 100, this, that point become 50, about 40. The price also very high. If you look at here, let's say about $20. The monopolies, unregulated, the monopoly price, unregulated. Now, the problem here, those monopolies earn huge amount of profit, they can invest and reinvest, research and development, those things happen. Since those natural monopoly industries are, like I mentioned before, public utilities, everyone in the society needs those service and goods. Now imagine 100 million people need, or 100,000 people need, but only get 40. So then big issues come in the society. More than 50%, they don't get the product and services. Imagine this situation in the producer side. Those producers need 100 million, but look, 40 million get. In that way, the producers can't produce the other industries. Imagine electricity. There are entrepreneurs, the demand need 100 million. Only get 40 million, then other industries also not expanding. Only option is that the rest we have to import. In that way, the exchange rate issues coming. So many issues coming later. And also the very high price also. Some of the consumers not afford, because this 220 is very high here. So that's the problem. Because of that, the government treat this natural monopoly differently, like I explained. Either government set or regulated, or the government or regulated body, then they try to decide the price. When they try to decide, one of the option is set the price marginal cost. That perfectly competitive market situation, marginal cost equal price. So bring to the supreme level, the nirvana level, perfect competitive price equal marginal cost. So if that is the case, situation here, you can see there is the regulated, the perfectly competitive price, P equal MC price. So very good. About, let's say, 90% of the people get, those who need 90%, get the facility and very low cost. If you look at here, very low cost. Let's say about $22 each. But the problem is, if you look at the cost here, unit cost, your $2 when you sell, you have to spend per unit about $6. Where is come from? The lost, basically. The lost come from. Same price $2, The lost per unit $6. So when you buy, you pay $2, but indirectly, because this government has from the treasury, those amount get from, in this case, the for time 90s, 36 million dollar. You have to collect again from the taxpayers. In Sri Lanka, what happened, since the taxpayers are not, because the government politicians want to please with them, and the government borrow from, government loan from the other countries for this. In case of action, if it is fixed this amount to settle, but the taxpayers has to pay more than 36 million. Why? Because the tax department, its officers, and all the other administrative costs, and plus commission and corruption. All, if you add about, have to collect additional 30% to this 36 million. So additional 30% come about 12 million roughly. Then the 48 million from your pocket, it's a tax money the government has to collect as a tax money. 48 million. So in this, indirectly, you pay not $2, additional somewhere plus $8 in that. Not 8, roughly around $6 additional. Total, this plus 2 also becomes $2, 8. So that's the problem. That's created so big issues. Then another option, the government set price, or regulated body set the price, average cost equal price. Average cost equal price. So in that case, set the price this point. AC equal P. Now here about 80% of the people, those who weren't scared, and the price somewhere about $8. AC equal price. Now here, AC equal price mean total revenue equal total cost, which means the profit becomes 0. So profit becomes 0. In other words, what we call break-even price. Break-even price. The problem with the break-even price, since there's no profit, the industry can't reinvest. The industry can't invest research and development. Can't do innovative. It has to use the same technology because no enough profit to do so. So what happened with these other countries? We are living the global economy. The other countries, China, India, especially right now, you can see India is moving fast. They may use the research and development and bring new technology. In research and development, bring new technology, what happens? Their unit cost goes down. So in Sri Lanka, it's $8. With that, maybe they gradually, their unit cost gain by to $6. Now, our advisors say, oh, no, we better import. Not even advisors, our people also be, because cheaper you can go from India. So we increase import. We stop gradually production in this country and try to depend on the government. Few years goes, the industry will shut down automatically. It become dead industry. Now, what happened that side, our import will increase, and then our foreign exchange dollar rate increase, and there's so many issues coming, the macroeconomics and debt and all the issues coming. So you can see the root causes coming from where this white elephant state ownership industries, white elephant state regulated bodies. They have to wisely make the decision and efficiently make the decision. The other option, maybe set the price like regulated body, monopoly price, but you discuss what the issues can. Now, sort it out. The regulated body use different techniques sort it out this issue. Now, you see the graph, the PowerPoint presentation, you can see here the marginal cost equal price, average cost equal price. Here you can see the loss. Here the unregulated price and the. As a solution, the regulated body use the techniques called discrimination. The price discrimination. Now, theoretically, if you look at price discrimination, there are three types of price discrimination. Of course, very simple. We call first degree, second degree, and third degree. The first degree price discrimination we call, another word, the perfect price discrimination. What does mean perfect price discrimination? Not only the consumer, not only every consumer, every time someone buy, they pay different price. Every unit you buy, pay the different price. Now, for example, here, if you have a demand curve, so I go to, like here, if you have a demand curve, in every unit you buy, you pay different price. Different price. So if that happen, if this happen, the no consumer surplus left, all the consumer surplus goes to producer. So consumer surplus becomes zero, producer surplus increase. Producer plus increase. And practically in the conventional market, you can't see this perfect or first degree price discrimination. But in the right now in the digital market, online market, digital product, the possibilities there. I used to give a question also about this digital market and the e-market and the first degree price discrimination. It's possibility there. For example, if you want to watch a movie or if you want to read an article, you can ask the seller or producer whatever you want, and then they will give a different price. So this is a combination of product differentiation and price differentiation coming. If you want to know more about this first degree price discrimination and online and the digital product, I have written a book called Economics of E-Commerce. You can get a copy from the library. So you don't need to pay for that, and you can keep it. The economics of e-commerce. You read there is a chapter about this price discrimination and digital. And the second degree price discrimination is quite common. Let's say you have a demand curve. It's like another word called bulk buying. This happened in the wholesale market. Now look at if you buy bulk, it's somewhere, let's say 20 units together. They give a kind of lower price, let's say $5. If you buy, let's say 10 together, they give at about price about $12. If you buy one, only quite high price, it's about, let's say, $20. So it's a wholesale market, quite this kind of situation. You sell a bulk, which happen in airline industry, or even some other movies and those places. Also, if you buy the group ticket, they give a lower price. Even if you go to fish market, let's say you have some function, you need the 10 kilo fish, then with the lower price you can buy. If you don't have any function, you go to buy your own family, maybe 1 kilo you buy, then it will high price. That is quite common. You can see everywhere this kind of second degree price discrimination. Now, third degree price discrimination. Third degree price discrimination, you should be able to divide market into different segments. Now, same market into different segments. For example, let's say student market and adults market. Now, same, let's say the public transport. With the student identity card, you get the lower price. Without ID card, you get the normal price. So in that way, let's say student demand curve, like that. Student demand curve. And accordingly, students, let's say this is the normal adults demand curve. Both the market, same product. Even the, like I say, the bus, same seats. If you go to restaurant, same seat, same food. So in that way, the marginal cost, in this case, I'll take the marginal cost is the constant one. The marginal cost is same. In that the marginal cost is constant means this is average cost also. The marginal cost and average. Now, if you get the marginal revenue curve, what happened to the adults market like this? Marginal revenue, adults, the marginal revenue for the student. So now look at here, for the student MR equal MC condition satisfied. Here, the amount sell and at price, the PS price, let's say $8. Now look at the other side, the normal adults, MR equal MC satisfied here. point B, A point A. So look at the price, about $15. And here the amount, this. And the two demand curve, if you look at usually the student demand curve, more flatter because the price elasticity. The adults demand curve more steeper because more inelastic, because the change in price, they don't respond much because they have enough money, not like student. Example, let's say the movie. If the movie ticket or cricket match ticket, the price is very increase, and the adults, so maybe they go, only demand reduce little, but the student drop demand much more than what adults need. So that's the flatter demand curve here. That's why steeper demand curve. Now look at the price difference. Price difference. So keeping that, the monopolist always using the price differentiation techniques, they can increase the profit. Compare with without price discrimination, maybe the time I can ask the profit without price discrimination. Without discrimination, if you look at the profit, something like that. Now, if you want to look at the profit here, this is the profit. The monopolist get the student market. This is the profit monopolists get from the adults market. You measure ultimately in the elastic and inelastic situation, and both market monopolists can earn the same amount of profit and together higher profit than without price discrimination. Now, there are some conditions to fulfill this third degree price discrimination. Now, kind of environment, you can see the cheating. For example, in Sri Lanka, if you introduce this kind of thing, the student ID card you may buy and you may sell to somewhere in the corner to adults and higher price. So those kind of things happen. This third degree price discrimination can't perform by the monopoly. I remember when I was in Netherlands, this happened because especially Indian and Sri Lankan student, even I did, of course, so I say right now, buy a train ticket or the bus ticket with our ID card and go with our adults or our friends and those who were not students. That way, I mean, if we can't segment the market segmentation like that, doesn't work. So the point here, the monopolist, the natural monopoly industry regulated body can use these price discrimination techniques to control prices. For example, some of the consumers, they can set P equal MC price. There are no profit and a loss. Some of the consumers, they can set average cost equal price. There are only zero profit. And some of the consumers depend on their willingness to pay higher price also. And even the more than the monopoly price, somewhere here also they can set the price and earn higher profit. Different price, earn higher profit and use those profit to compensate to get this lost managed and this. So in that the profit value, ultimately the industry can be run. So use now in Sri Lanka case, for example, if you look at the like electricity, We use opposite. Always we are doing reverse thing, second degree price discrimination. But I say the opposite. If you buy bulk, if you buy more, you have to pay more. Because our people and the policymakers and the government always pleased with the poverty, not those who work, those who try to earn money and help the economic development. Now, for example, let's say you have a company, you need the electricity. If you use more electricity, you can produce more. But the thing is, the government say, no, you don't use electricity. If you use the more electricity, we give you higher rate. So we government discourage you. That was situation. The government job is to not provide. The government always try to control. And in that way, what happened? The production decrease and the GDP decrease and the economic not growing. Economy is not growing. But if you like not producing and the lazy way, and if you do like that, if you use the 10, 20 unit, the government happy. I mean, in the regulated body happy. Oh, then they say, no, I'll give you lower price, and because the same thing in the societies also. If you don't use the power enough, like your good life, even the fan, even the ACs, or government happy, then the government give you the low electricity bill because the low rate in that way. So that means the government discourage your luxury life. So it has to be opposite the my way. So that is the thing in Sri Lanka happened. Those regulated body, but they set the price because we always try to support those who don't work, those who say consider as the Samurdhi beneficiaries, not those who start a business, not those who work hard, even the 10 hours, 12 hours per day. So that's our policy. Now the exam, I don't know whether I have one question here. Maybe related to price discrimination. I give a questions like this. You should be able to answer. You try here right now. I'll give 5 minutes. I think the last week I did not give. So here you get the two demand, student demand, and the other maybe adults like that. And the first question, calculate the profit maximum quantity and the profit. Given the cost function is like this. Second one is the cost function different late. Right now do the B only. Don't need to do A do at home because that must be the exam question I'll give you. And do B and C right now. C, let's say, like without price discrimination. If you remember, I mentioned that if this is the profit without price discrimination, it's always less than the profit with price discrimination. Now you can check doing this B and C, that hypothesis is true. You can check. When you do this B and C, I'll give 5 minutes. So in that 5 minutes, try to do that. 5 minutes not enough. Maybe I'll give 7 minutes. Try to do that. If you have any question, please ask me right now. Before I... Okay, no questions with me. And so I want to see answers, the B and C. So after that, I will continue. Okay, I hope I saw some of you send the message also. The profit, total profit, the P, you can see here already answer there, 3,250. And without price discrimination, the same cost only get the 3,200. So the difference you can see here. So in the exam, you may get questions like this. Only different demand curve. Here, when you do another thing, also keep in mind, I always say, the exam give a normal demand curve, not the inverse demand curve. These are inverse demand curve. The question number C here, when you do this inverse demand curve, then you have to convert into normal demand curve. Only after that you can get the 1 marker. If you add the inverse demand curve directly, you don't get it. Because if you add the inverse demand curve, you add in prices, not the quantity. Those are the important thing here. Okay, with that, I will stop here. If you have any questions, please ask me if I go further. Any questions, anything? Okay. We look at the next lessons that I'll take the oligopoly market structure. The oligopoly market structure. I hope you can see. I open the slide. Yeah. This oligopoly market structure, the third one what we are going to discuss, and the first one we discussed the perfectly competitive market in terms of number of firms in the one stream, the other stream, the monopoly, only one firm. So the oligopoly market here belong to somewhere here to very few firms. In case of two firms, we call duopoly, and very few firms. Here, when I mention the few firms, it's about 90% of the market shares belong to these few large firms. Maybe other 10%, another 1,000 firms, or another so many firms. So that kind of situation you can see. We don't seriously, they small 10% belong to thousands firms cases. It's like for them like a perfectly competitive. They can't influence the market. So we look at the few firms who control about 90-95% of the market share. This kind of industry is what we call oligopoly market. There are plenty of examples you can pick up. Like even if you look at the mobile connection providers, even the bank also you can see the kind of oligopoly. Now, the nature of the oligopoly market, since in only few firms, handfuls amount of firms, they study the other firms' behavior and react. They study the other firms' behavior and react. The other option also, they become friends and they make the decision together also. That also happen. Now, conventionally, to study the oligopoly market, we have several models. developed like we call King demand curve, Kuhnert demand curve, and so many more. Nowadays, we use the game theory, what we call game theoristic approach to understand or to study the oligopoly market. What we already discussed, the monopoly and perfect, we are here, the perfect, the oligopoly, few sellers or few producers. And another thing in the oligopoly market we can observe later on, I'll show you, since the few large firms and they are the we consider the oligopoly, and thousands of small firms, they like what we call contestable market call. They like hit and run firms in the oligopoly market. So these few firms taking advantage the situation, they enter the industry and earn enough profit and maybe disappear. Those kind of situation also you can notice in the oligopoly market. So these questions I will know quickly. Those are the what we already discussed. Yeah. Yeah, this is the oligopoly here. Now the oligopoly market few sellers, identical product, all sellers. And also the most important is the oligopoly market to understand, like I said, the dependency behavior. The firms react studying the other firm's behavior. So interdependency. So I'll take an example, usually like a 138 bus route. They are the public bus, private bus. Because you say the passengers waiting, some few passengers, the bus comes and not stop, and because since other bus also coming, they stop, try to stop. Same thing happened, and then without full capacity, all the bus reached to Peta or the other side, Maharagam. Some passengers still on the road. So they like run there like you play a game. Study the opponent's behavior and react. That interdependence is a key thing when you try to identify some industries, whether the oligopoly or any other belong to other market structure. So that interdependence is a key thing. Now these are the different model what you can use to study the oligopoly market behavior. Now that also depends on some industries, few firms are same power and same size. Let's say like this. Let's say this industry has 4 firms, A, B, C, and D. These are same power and the same size and equal. There are some industries you can say the one firm may be quite large. The other firms compared to that one, small and little power. Though there are sort of small dot firms, both cases, but these two cases, if you look at here, X, Y, Z, whatever, those things. Now the first one, like you say, is let's imagine you are with your friends, all of get equal power and equal, maybe the same class and same level, and then when you try to take the decision, no one domain because there's no power, no leader. That kind of situation, the first one. Second one, let's say you have a friend, somebody, whatever the reason, his skill, smartness, or whatever reason, he become a domain and the leader. So that's the second type. So the first case, when they take the decision and play, we call simultaneous game. Simultaneous game. They set same time either quantity or price. Based on that, if they decide the quantity simultaneously, we call the model Kuno model. Kuno is the Russian economist. He developed that we call Kuno model. That you take only two firms, both firms are equal power. So that they decide simultaneously quantity. Same thing, another model we call, they decide simultaneously the price. That model we call Breton model. Both firms, in case of let's say two firms, same power, they decide the simultaneously. It's the one of the model, simultaneous game. The second one, like sequence game. The one firm is powerful. In that case, let's say this is the leader. A leader, like a monopoly, decide either quantity, that's what we call leadership, quantity leadership game. And the name we call another Russian economist, Steckberg. We call it Steckberg model. Steckberg model. So the name of their model name. There's a leader there. All the others followers. Leader decide like a monopoly, the quantity leader can sell. The rest of the market requirement is by the followers. So that's the quantity game, the quantity leadership. The other price leadership also quite popular. There, the leader decide the price, like the monopoly, MR equal MC, MR the leaders and the marginal cost of leaders. Accordingly decide, like for leader is the monopoly price. Leader become a monopoly and decide the monopoly price. That price taken by the other followers, they do. For example, now perfectly competitive market is not like that. A perfectly competitive market, kind of simultaneous. Demand and supply together decide the price. Everyone take that price. The perfectly competitive market. Now it looks like a simultaneous. Here, a price leadership model, leader, the market demand curve is like that. Based on the market demand curve, the leader, the marginal cost curve you get, like here. Leader decide accordingly how much leader and the leader's price. Now see, in other firms, like firm B, that followers, in this price, whatever they can depend on their marginal cost, they sell. Now we look at the company with the perfect competitive market. Perfect competitive market, equal MC here. MC, sorry. So the perfectly competitive market demand like this. In the perfectly competitive market, there's no price here, the quantity here. The oligopoly market, in that way, they see the price is also high. That is the price leadership model. The other one is, like I said, in the very few number of firms, they tend to get together and make a coalition, what we call cartel. There, it's like they play corporate game. Then definitely, it's no word about this is the monopoly situation. Because the cartel demand curve is total belong to the cartel and the marginal revenue. And together marginal cost, they decide it's exactly like monopoly. Because of this monopoly conversion, the oligopoly market, the many countries, including USA, this kind of situation not legal. But still you can see informally, since very few firms, they have informal discussion either night or the dinner or maybe yeah, they make agreement and they do that kind of situation. They start. So when they sit like that, there's another popular tendency, cheating. Because they set the price, let's say they organize a night dinner party and their agreement, and the morning they look at again, if they cheat, I will show you, the cheating comes first round better off. In that way that they break the coalition and the cartel. It's quite similar to the OPEC. OPEC is not breaking because this is a strong institution. It's quite similar to the OPEC. OPEC is like a corporate game. Corporate game. Now, I don't discuss with you all the other models here. But if you someone interested, you can look at those different things. I look at the cartel and the coalition situation and characteristic. Now, the oligopoly, the cartel being illegal because the cartel again create a kind of monopoly situation. And before look at this happened in the industry, look at the different industries, how we identify whether it's belong to oligopoly market in terms of the market share. Now, cigarette industry, largest 9 firms, for example, if you measure about 99% of the market share, that is the oligopoly market, basically. Glass bottle and jar, about 90%, more than 90% of here. You can say they belong to largest 11 firms. Like that, you can see the nature, even the chocolate and motorcycle in coming 300. So the largest firms belong to. So measure this like a market share. We have an index, the microeconomics we use, and also this the other studies also use. We call Herpindal-Hirschman index. HI. Herpindal-Hirschman index. Now, to measure the particular industry, say the cake industry or bread industry, whatever, this value is exceed, then we call oligopoly market. If less than, we call monopolistic competition. Now here, I'm not going to ask you in the exam how to measure, but you must know at least the name of the index, what you use to identify whether the market power, the Herpindal-Hirschman index, what we call HI. Now, perfectly competitive market, if you look at this index value becomes 0. With no market power, no any firms, no firms get the full market power, 0 market power each firm. Now, this example, you will identify, you will understand how the firms in the oligopoly market behave. How firms in the oligopoly market behave. Now here, before I explain situation, look at this corner. You can see a table. That's a demand and the revenue. Yeah. First, you see the 0 to 120 quantity. And the second one, see the prices. For example, $120, the demand is 0. 110, the price demand become 10. This is the water industry, the gallon liters, you can see the 10 liters demand total. The price dropped down to 100, demand increased to 20. Like that, price dropped down to 10, demand increase 110. Like if you draw a demand curve like this, if the 0 price, the demand is 120. Price is 120, according to the table, demand becomes 0. So this is the demand curve. With this demand, you can see the revenue also, assuming that the no cost involved, the pump involved, which means the marginal cost equals 0. If that is the case, you can see the revenue and even you can see the profit. Here, last column. For example, if you $100, demand is 200 to 20, and the revenue become 2000. Likewise, you can see this one. Now here we start play a game here, not oligopoly market. We start to look at if the market is perfectly competitive. Now with the exam, if I give a question like that, I don't give you this demand table. I give a demand equation. Like in this case, if I draw demand equation in the exam, you may get 120 minus P. So exactly that's the demand curve here. If you get the inverse demand curve, you cannot P equal 120. Okay. Now imagine the market is perfectly competitive. Now let's say consider the first. If the market is perfectly competitive, the market is perfectly competitive. To know if the market is perfectly competitive, price equal the marginal cost. Now here we assume the marginal cost equals 0, which means the price equals 0. If the price equals 0, you can see the market production 120. 120. 120. If exam I give this equation like this, inverse demand function, what we get the 120 minus Q. Now look at the perfectly competitive market, P equal marginal cost, which means the marginal cost what we got this exercise equal to 0. So in this case, the perfectly competitive market, price equal MC. Now price is 120, that is the equal Q equal to 0. So then you get the Q equal 120. Now, this is the situation in the perfectly competitive market. The exam, if I give a question like that, you should be able to measure each market, perfectly competitive market, monopoly, oligopoly. We take the oligopoly market, assuming that the two firms, firm A and the firm B, and the total oligopoly. For each market, in the exam, given this kind of question, you should be able to calculate quantity, profit maximum quantity, the markup. And the price, revenue, cost, profit, consumer surplus, producer surplus, social welfare, and debt weight loss. Debt weight loss. Now, after the class, in this case, now we did calculate the perfectly competitive mark quantity, what we get 120, price, what we get 0, then you can see the revenue 0, cost of course 0, profit 0, the consumer surplus. If the demand curve like this, 120 here, 120 here. So this entire become consumer surplus, which means 120 divided multiply 120 divide by 2. The consumer surplus you get. So how much? Yeah, I think 720, right? Consumer surplus. 7,200. We can go. And the producer surplus, no, the welfare entire consumer surplus, no debt weight loss. Similarly, you should be able to calculate the monopoly. I will do here for this example exam, I give different one. Before that, again, go to the slide here. Now, the perfectly competitive market, like I said, is the quantity, the marginal cost is 0. Because of this, the price becomes 0 with the equal P and the quantity 120 L. In the perfectly competitive market. Now, let's say the market become monopolist hand. There we know monopolist. If I go again, if in case of monopoly, MR equal MC and become profit maximum. How do you find an MR here? In the you have inverse demand curve. So if you draw here the halfway, it in here becomes 60. So if the marginal cost is 0, now MR become 120 minus 2Q. So then MR equal MC, this is set to the 0. Then the Q become, the monopoly's outcome becomes 60. So the monopoly's outcome becomes 60. If the monopoly's outcome becomes 60, if you plug into here the demand equation, you can see the price becomes also 60. Here the if 60, here also 60. If the price and quantity becomes 60, you can see the revenue 3,600. Cost 0 definitely because the data cost is 0. Then the profit become entire revenue in this example. And the consumer surplus, you can measure here the consumer surplus area. With price is 6, some of the consumers willing to pay 120, which means here the 60, here also 60 times 60, and 30. Consumer surplus become 1,800. The producer surplus, then profit become producer surplus because the no cost. So that is 3,600. The social welfare, these put together, you get the, adding these producer surplus and consumer surplus together, you get the 5,100. Now, take the welfare either perfectly competitive and monopoly. Then it was become this part. Again, the rest 1,800 become rate rate. So the exam you should be able to calculate. Now, I'll go back and see what happened in the oligopoly market situation. This is the monopoly result, what I did with already. 60-60, the profit become the 60 and the revenue become the situation. So MR is greater than the P. You can see. Now duopoly. You give me 1 second. Now find the duopoly market. Sorry, sorry for that. I think the time also called me. Yeah, I'll take only another maybe 10 minutes. So the duopoly market is one of the smallest unit of the oligopoly market. Let's say we use here the two firms, Hackle and Jackal, two firms. We'll see how these two firms behave in the water industry. The example I gave you, the water industry. Now, what they do usually, like I mentioned before, these two get together and make a coalition and make cartel. That the obvious things happen in the oligopoly market. Because in that way, they may feel they can earn more profit. If they make cartel, there's exactly similar to monopolistic quantity. Because the cartel means the one firm in similar the monopoly result game, it's an industry. So the price becomes 60, quantity becomes 60 situation. But they have agreed to split the market equally. Which means each firm get now the oligopoly, Hackle and Jackal, Here, let's say the Hackle and the Jackal. 60-60 they produce. That is the happening. So 60 quantity, 60 quantity. And the price as it is 60, 60. Now you can see the profit each firm 1,800. Sorry, revenue. Each firm get the 1,800. And the cost 0. Then the profit also, each firm get the 1,800. The consumer surplus as same as before, together 1,800 both. Producer surplus same as the monopoly, but each get 8,000, 1,800. The social welfare again same, and the debt weight also same. Now this is the initial without cheating, what happened. Now you can see Jackal and Jackal, how they decide, and the 30 display the market and the price 60, each get profit 1,800 like I explained. We got the 60 oligopoly situation. Now what happened, the one in both Hackle and Jackal, after meeting, they with the together their management, they again analyzed. After they analyze, they may realize that the increased production 30 to 40, they can increase their profitability. Because ultimately, there's an independent firm. They independently again analyze. After, well, let's say the night dinner with a good drink, and they maybe agree. But after go back company, again they decide. The next day morning, when the real production comes, after analyze, let's say Hackle produce not 30, Hackle decide to produce 40. In that case, what happened? In that case, what happened? Total quantity come to the market, not 60, 70 coming. Hackle could produce 30 alone as the result of the market equivalent. Now, so then the price become 50. Price become 50. Now look at this second round happen, right? The second round here, Hackle and Jackal. Now Hackle produce 40, Jackal 30. The price become 50. With more comes to the market. And you can see the revenue here 2,000, but the Jackal get the 1,500. So the other one you can directly do that. Now when you see this Jackal also analyze, Jackal also same do reaction to. So in the third round, what happened? Both produce 40-40. Hackle also produce 40, Jackal also produce 40. So the total market is become 80. When the total market become 80, the market price become, you can see the market price become 40. With the 80 come, the market price become 40. So it's a this is 40. Now what happened? Ultimately, they both cheat. Profit become 1,600, drop down even compared to the original situation. Now this go on and on continue. But ultimately the market settle down to a place what we call equilibrium level. That equilibrium what we call the Nash equilibrium, because what the Nash in the Nash John Nash is a mathematician, later become an economist, is the one introduced this the game theory approach to analyze the oligopoly market. The domain strategy, domain solution come to the equilibrium level, the oligopoly market. Nash is called as the equilibrium point. That's what we call Nash equilibrium. So it will come to reach Nash equilibrium. Now that happened. Now look at, say, if you put to Jekyll and Hackle here, this is the last point I'm going to discuss today. Cheat in, let's say, cheat here, not cheat. Here, Jekyll also cheat, not cheat. Now what happened? If the both cheat, the profit become Jekyll also 1,000, Hackle also 1,600. Not cheat, both profit 1,800, 1,800. If Jekyll cheat, let's say Jekyll I write some here, you get the profit 2,000, Hackle get 1,200. So, yeah. What are the 200, I think so. 1,500, right? The opposite here. Now you yourself, you can with your friend or your family members, you can do that. Ultimately what happened, the industry, you get the most, the domain strategy becomes cheated. I think I make not cheating here. Yeah, not cheating, what we call corporate game, you get the more profit both firms. For example, if you, let's say, Hackle decide to not cheat, Hackle get 1,500, but the Hackle get 2,000. So they can not happen. This way also you can look at. Ultimately, this becomes the domain strategy, cheating, domain strategy, and this becomes Nash equilibrium. Nash equilibrium. So that's how you get the Nash equilibrium. In this case, the 40 is the Nash equilibrium, and ultimately the both is the 1,600 profit. So that's he got the Nobel Prize is 1994. In 2012, if I remember, in a crash in California, he died. This is the original mathematician, but later become an economist. What his name is called the Nash equilibrium. And so the Nash equilibrium solution, like I explained, is that both firms produce 40-40 in this case. That is not the optimal, that is not the best solution. Now this happened in the oligopoly market frequently. You can see not the price game, you can see the powerful advertisement capacity. So the firms spend so much money, this advertisement war. That's how that happened. Ultimately, advertisement has a good thing also, because the advertisement industry may be expand and those things happen. But the thing is, ultimately the consumers has to pay higher price. There are so many games to understand. Next week, maybe I will quick look at right now. One of the popular games to understand behavior, what we call prisoner dilemma. And in that case, those prisoners also not get best solution. They operate, take their decision. So I will explain, maybe you can read at what is prisoner dilemma maybe next week. And this happened in the real world also, like the war situation. This is the Iraq and Iraq oil also. Anything you can apply here, the arm production, USA and Russia. Always the produce arm situation you can see. This, if you look at it, where the one country decide to disarm, if the other countries disarm, the country who decide to disarm create a risk. What happened in the world right now, Russia, USA, Korea, all the countries produce, and so selling ground, they make a currency, so it's the South Asia and African countries, and they sell nowadays you can see. So this Nash equilibrium, so maybe the exam I may ask the question, domain strategy combination of Nash equilibrium, you should prepare. So at this point I will stop today. Next week I will little bit elaborate more this Nash equilibrium and game theory. I will continue. I'll stop right now. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, we can leave the meeting. Okay. It look like no questions. Then have a nice, again, this is the middle of the long weekend. Have a rest of the weekend also enjoy. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank
I
you.
think I send you many past papers, right? No? Did you? And module paper and past paper, did I send? No.